Hello and welcome to my next video. Today I'm talking about grit. First time I was introduced to the concept of grit, I was watching a TED Talk by Angela Lee Duckworth. She was talking about her experience as a teacher and seeing which students in her class succeeded and which kind of fell short of the standards. So she actually went ahead and started doing some pretty amazing research looking at what makes us successful, what helps push us through to be the one achieving your goals, the one living life by design rather than just going with the flow and coasting through life. What is grit? Break grit into an acronym. G being growth. Are you somebody who's willing to grow? Are you willing to accept the fact that you don't have all the right answers? And there's people that have gone before us that can really teach us some valuable wisdom. And when you decide to grow, you get better. Your life expands, your mind grows. There's more joy and gratitude for yourself. Being willing to grow is just the cornerstone of grit, I think. The next letter, R, think of resilience. Resilience is part of being gritty, right? So when fear hits you, life hits you, things happen when you get knocked off the horse and you're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I don't want to pursue this goal, or I don't want to live life by design. I just want to watch TV and coast for the rest of the day. Resilience is a part of being gritty because we have to maintain some level of commitment to where we're really going. You can't just pretend to not care about life. At the end of the day, there's always something to look forward to if we decide to have that perspective, if we decide to choose to live that way. So growth, resilience. The next is I, and that is integrity. So integrity is really valuable. Integrity with myself. So if I don't have integrity for my actions, I don't have integrity for my mindset, I don't have integrity for the reality check of where I'm really at in pursuit of my goals, nothing's gonna happen. I'm gonna constantly move the bar down. So if I'm not hitting my goal, if I'm not following through with the right activities in my life to give me the results I want, I'm just going to keep moving that bar down instead of really having the integrity to say, what do I have to change about myself? What do I have to take ownership of that I know I'm responsible in this pursuit of living life by design, living life on fire, living a stoked life? The next letter, T, is tenacity. And I think this is one of my favorite parts of this whole thing is be willing to be tenacious, to seek out that fire in your soul that is going to be the motivation. In our mind, we're constantly getting in our own way. Are you willing to be tenacious in getting out of your own way? A concept I have is when we think about that, to imagine yourself in some big city. Okay, that stereotypical scene in the movie where the guy or the gal's walking down the dark alley. It's raining, they've got their raincoat on, and it's just a gloomy situation. You're feeling really creepy, but you got to take this alley to get to wherever you're going. And around the corner comes these like three creepy characters, and they're there to jump you. They're going to take your money, beat you up. You'll most likely end up in the hospital at best and potentially lose your life. Consider that scenario, and how tenacious would you be to fight for your life? How tenacious would you be to fight off these pursuers of you? Sometimes we have to put ourselves in that with our own relationship with ourselves. The good news is you're not fighting off three creepy, people around the corner. It's just a one-on-one battle with you versus you every day. And grit kind of brings that fuel and puts the weapons in your hands to combat the passive lifestyle, the life by default versus the life by design. So tenacity is just amazing in the sense, and why I love it so much is that it calls on me to be wild. It calls on me to be unorthodox, to just have tenacious reality amongst my thoughts, amongst my actions, and to be just on fire for life. I really love that piece. So we've got, to review, growth, resilience, integrity, tenacity. If we're looking at our character, if we're looking at our personality, those are the kind of the elements that we're working on to build and to foster and grow in order to be a gritty person. So if on a scale of 1 to 10, with 0 being I have no grit and 10 being I am a machine, I just do not vary off my path. I know exactly what I want to do. I'm going to learn. I'm going to have the growth mindset. I'm going to be tenacious. I'm going to have integrity. I'm going to be resilient. That's the level 10. So if we're really interrogating our reality and really checking in with, where am I at today? That's kind of the question is, boy, what do I got to do to be more gritty? Because life's too dang short for me, life's too dang short to live a life by default, to just be in the slow lane, cruising through life. I want to live stoked. I want to be on fire for life. I want to change people's lives. I want to have fun. I want to have adventure. I want to love. And it's amazing to me how much more of those things happen when I just sprinkle in a little discipline and I really focus on being gritty. So that's kind of a quick nutshell overview of what grit is. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about Angela Lee Duckworth's TED Talk, which I'll share a link with that, and I definitely recommend checking out. In that, she talks about, Carol Dweck is a researcher at Stanford University. She wrote a book about having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Check it out, it's really good. We get a really good research-based, evidence-based reality check of how, our success is really directly aligned with how gritty we are. When I'm faced with an obstacle, when I'm faced with a challenge, when, life is happening around me, asking myself, how can I have a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset has been a powerful tool. It seems like a really simple thing, but let me explain what the differences are. So growth mindset is basically one where if you are faced with a challenge or an obstacle and you do your best, you prepare, you plan, you surmount that obstacle, and then on the other side, maybe the results weren't what you wanted. In Carol's book, she talks about her students studying for a test. So maybe at the end of the test, your results weren't that good. Well, a person with a growth mindset looks at that and says, what do I need to change in myself to have the results I want? And the fixed mindset person says, oh, I guess I'm not supposed to be taking this class, or I guess the teacher didn't explain things well enough, or the $200 that I spent on a tutor wasn't worth it because, I didn't get the results I wanted. They have a fixed mindset on their ability to learn, their ability to really be in charge of their life. It's a very, very powerful and very sombering thing for me to look at and say, when have I been living from a growth mindset and when have I been living from a fixed mindset? It's kind of one of those nature-nurture things. Sometimes, our brains are just wired one way or the other. And also sometimes if you grow up or if you're raised by one, a family member or a parent with one of those mindsets, that can kind of be imprinted onto you. If your habits are being formed by the habits of those raising you, you could easily be somebody who might be more predisposition to be a growth mindset. But if you're raised around fixed mindset people, it's going to be really tough to build that routine, that habit of having a growth mindset. And consequently, it could be the same way around. So the good news is we're in charge of it. The good news is our brains are plastic. They're malleable. We can push ourselves to things, to horizons beyond our dreams. And everyone says that, right? Like everyone says we can do whatever we put our mind to. And the reality is it's true. The problem is we get sidetracked on distractions, or we don't have, like in the grit example, we don't have the integrity to say, how am I a part of the problem? How are my actions? How are my thoughts? How is my own opinion of myself part of the problem? And it's a powerful thing when you learn that and you let yourself kind of shake off the BS and just start living with a growth mindset and focusing on grit, what can really happen. So for me, my personal story with this is it's a struggle. I'll tell you, it's not easy to be constantly focused on grit. Life is full of situations, distractions, hurdles, so many things that are just designed to take us off goal, take us off track, and take our mindset away from being somebody who's a gritty person. Having the growth mindset is a way to really keep myself on track with that. It's been a struggle. It's been hard. It's not easy. Being focused on the growth mindset, being focused on having grit has been one of the most impactful things for me. I do not believe in I do not believe in someone having capped potential. I think we have seen that day in and day out throughout history and in our own lives that, talent doesn't beat grit and hard work. Some of the most talented people fail with the grit aspect and they don't get the results they need. Some of the most lower spectrum talent folks show up in the biggest ways in our world and have changed and moved mountains that, from a historical perspective or even now today, it's very obvious. They're super gritty. They're down to work hard. They're down to give themselves grace and ask the question, how am I a part of the problem? And then make the adjustments needed. So that's where I'm at. I'm focused on the growth mindset, focused on grit. And let me tell you all, it is amazing to have the awareness that you can change the reality around you. I think that's something that's so beautiful about the life we live and the opportunities we have in front of us, is to really take charge, to grab the reins and start living life by design, start living stoked, and be your best self. So thanks for watching today. I'm going to include some links for TED Talk and the book I talked about. So check those out. And if you haven't done it yet, hit the subscribe button so you can stay updated on these great videos I'm bringing your way. I really want to build community. And if you like this video, share a comment. Let me know what stood out to you and how you will be gritty from now on moving forward. So until next time, cheers.